Article 22, amend the Londonderry Municipal Code, Title V, Administrative Code, Chapter 3. Shall the town vote to amend the Londonderry Municipal Code, Title V, Administrative Code, Chapter 3, Boards, Committees, and Commissions, Section 1, General Authority, Section 1.b, to remove the word advisory from Budget Committee in accordance with RSA 40:14-B that states the, quote, Budget Committee, close quote, shall create the default budgets. This is submitted by citizen petition. There's no tax impact, and therefore the council nor the Budget Committee will make a recommendation. May I please have a motion from the council to open this for discussion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. This is now open for discussion.
So I wanted to add originally wanted to add a third budget to the ballot, and I wanted it to be the Budget Committee's budget. The Budget Committee works very, very hard to figure out ways to cut and save money for the taxpayers. It is an elected position. These people take a lot of time and a lot of effort into what they do. And so I called DRA. I spoke with a couple of people there. Brian then advised me, he's like, why do you want to put a third budget on? And I said, because I think we have a default and the recommended, but we don't have a Budget Committee budget. And he said, doesn't your Budget Committee already do your default budget? And I said, no. And then we talked and we looked it up, and it's because of the word advisory. And so he said, well, why don't you try changing the word advisory to be in compliance with this RSA, which is RSA 40:14-b, that says that the Budget Committee shall create the default budget. And I thought that made perfect sense, because right now, Justin creates both of them, and it would be more democratic to have somebody outside who is elected, who is going through this, to also look at the budget and actually have some teeth to what they do. I mean, they've come forward with tons and tons of recommendations that seem to all be denied, and that was the whole thing behind putting this citizens petition on the ballot.
The article is open for discussion. You gave a lot from opinion on the impact of this one?
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Moderator, bear with me a moment.
We're doing 22. We're on 22, right?
Yes, Mr. Moderator, the legal advice, and Attorney Carrier will correct me if I'm wrong, is that, like the others, the Budget Committee is defined in the town charter. We are a charter community. The Budget Committee is an advisory committee in the town charter. And in order to change an advisory budget committee in a community with a town charter to an official budget committee, that needs to be accomplished by charter amendment or revision. And so, like the other articles that we've discussed, or most of the other articles that we've discussed, this one would have no legal effect and would be advisory only.
I just want to go on the record as saying that when I was speaking to DRA and the New Hampshire Municipal Association, small changes in the charter can be done by the town council. They have the power to do those changes. So if the people vote for the articles that I've put in, even though you've called them advisory, the sitting town council can make those changes if they wish in the charter without having to put together a charter commission and without having to open up the whole charter. They can address just small sections to make alignments to fit certain things. At least that's what I've been told, and I'm feeling pretty confident about that. So thank you.
Mr. Moderator, that is incorrect.
Yeah, I mean, my understanding is substantive charges or substantial changes. We've been advised in the past that would need to go to the ballot. That's what legal counsel's advised us. But, you know, we're certainly willing
So, John,
to listen.
as a council, we've never made changes at all to the charter?
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that if there's a substantial amount of changes to the charter, the advice we have received from legal counsel in the past is that would require a charter commission.
Okay.
Whether that comes forward or not, I don't know, but the advice we have received in the past, that if there is a multiple changes to the charter, which effectively moves towards changing the form of government, that would need to be able to go to the ballot. That's what we've been advised in the past.
Well, I'm just going to say it's not a change of government, really, except for the one of them.
That's your opinion,
For
and
one of
that's
them.
fine.
And I just think that if the citizens vote for it, the council should at least engage in it, and if they don't, then next year I will put together a citizens petition to put together a charter committee to open up the charter. Thank you.
Mr. Moderator, if I may.
Please.
Regardless of whether it's advisory or it actually is doable, I don't think it's the best idea to have the Budget Committee create the default budget. Justin is far more qualified than I to develop the default budget. And I do think that Budget Committee, as it stands now, has had input in this process, and that input has been received well, both on the town side and on the school side. And so I can't speak for all of the Budget Committee, but I would say that the current system is working. We are making changes as the budget goes along, or you guys are making changes as the budget goes along based on our input. And so I don't see a need for us to develop the default budget.
Okay. Thank you for your comments.
I have a question too. Isn't the default budget just the default budget? Basically, we have a budget that is created essentially per the state. Yes.
our charter, correct.
Yes, state charter. Yeah. So the default budget is just what exists, and then the proposed budget is the changes to the default. Okay.
Correct.
And what the people at DRA said to me is, they give that part of it to the Budget Committee, and there's over 150 towns in the state of New Hampshire that their Budget Committee does create the default budget. And what happens is, so like if you made a suggestion to take this out or not support certain things, those things would be put into that budget, and then it would come down to whether they want to vote for Justin's budget or your budget. Like I said, I wanted to add a third budget, but they said no. They said that's the right way to do it.
Mr. Moderator, if I may, I just want to amplify the point that Chairman Cassidy made. I don't express an opinion whether this is a good idea or a bad idea, but and I can't remember exactly what the assertion was, that essentially everything that the Budget Committee brings forward is rejected, or that nobody listens to the Budget Committee. That's inconsistent with my experience. I think that the Budget Committee's fingerprints are on a lot of these warrant articles, are on a lot of the budgetary items that have been discussed at significant length over the course of this process. I don't want to speak for the Budget Committee. They may feel differently, but that is inconsistent with what I have observed.
The default budget is, you can't add things to it. It's what's contractually obligated
I
based on.
understand what it is, but so say, like last year, they brought forward 8 different things to take out of the budget.
That wouldn't be taken out of the default budget, though. That would only be taken out of the operating budget.
Okay.
So my understanding, the default budget is last year's budget, plus and minus.
I'm going by what the DRA guy said to me. I'm a budget person.
Do you mind?
I explained it to him, and
Do
he
you mind if I
said,
ask who it is? Because every time I try to
Brian.
talk to DRA about
Brian.
default, they tell me seek legal counsel.
Brian, I have his direct number. If you'd like it, I have no problem sending it to you.
Please, if you don't
Yeah,
mind, just
no
because I
problem.
would love to. If I'm wrong, I want to fix it.
No, I
That's the best way to
understand.
put it. If I'm wrong,
I
want to
just
fix it.
feel that, like I said, we make these people, opposed to the planning board, who doesn't have to run for office. We make these guys run for office. They have no power. And then we make planning board not run for office and have, I'd like the second most powerful board in the town. So it doesn't make sense to me.
I understand. What I'm saying, though, is if I am creating the default budget wrong, I want to fix that right away.
So here's where we are. We have a proposed warrant article by citizen petition that would be advisory only based on the way it is presented, like the other 4 that I think we had. So we can either move it to the ballot as written, or we can move it to the ballot as amended. Your wishes. The other amendments were to make it clear this is advisory only. However, that's not necessary. Wait a minute, I'm on the wrong one. I am. All right. This one would be advisory only. Do we want to add an amendment to that to make that clear? It appears we have a yes. Do we have a second? I do. The amendment would be the same. This is advisory only. Would you like to comment on the amendment? Okay. So all those in favor of amending this warrant article to make it clear that it's advisory only, raise your cards. The amendment passes, and this is for Article 22. So Article 22, as amended, will move to the ballot. Thank you. All those in favor of restricting reconsideration? Reconsideration is restricted.